Peace, 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 peace. Welcome back to the UNI Versal Temple for the sun, planets, moon, and stars. I'll be your Lord of Hosts, Lord Messiah. And today we're going into So They Have Agreed, right? And actually, today's mathematics, pretty sure it's past 12 now, going into knowledge cipher. And today's degree in the 1 to 40 would be, who is that mystery God? Answer, there is not a mystery God. The Son of Man has searched for that mystery God for trillions of years. It was unable to find a mystery God. So they have agreed that the only God is the Son of Man. So they lose no time searching for that which does not exist. So now, the part I want to focus in on that degree is where it says, so they have agreed. Right? Because I mentioned at the last parliament, I said, so let me ask a question, nation, is that the only thing that we agree to? Is that the only God is the Son of Man? I'm pretty sure everybody in the audience can agree to that. And I'm like, is that the only thing we agree to? And then when I mentioned, when I say, does anybody agree to getting Zoom meetings and, building on these entities so we can uplift our nation? And nobody raised their hand. One of the older gods, like halfway raised his hand and was kind of looking around, embarrassed to be in agreement with me. Like, wow. So what I concluded from that was that all of these people in the audience, nobody wants to uplift their nation. None of them have the energy to want to do anything for their nation. They all sat there just looking lazy in the face. Like, what do you mean uplift the nation? What do you mean have Zoom meetings and build on the entities? What do you mean? Like, are you serious, man? So it's like I said, man, a lot of brothers is just coming there for church. That shit is church to them. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go in there, when you go to church, you go to church to hear about what God did and what Jesus did and all that. The preachers talk about what God did, right? So we go into the Universal Parliament, and the original man is supposed to be the original God, the real God, and you're sitting in the audience and you're God as well, and you're just listening to what the other gods are doing and hearing them talk about what they're doing, and then they're asking for assistance and you're not assisting. Then that means you're not even assisting the gods. You're not building with the gods. You're just sitting there listening to what God is doing, like you're in church. See what I'm saying? So y'all be going to church. That ain't parliament. Y'all be going to church. You know what I'm saying? Straight up church. Yeah, let me come and listen to what the gods is doing. I'm God, but I ain't doing nothing. But let me go listen to what the gods is doing. Let me go to church. Call it parliament and act like I'm doing the knowledge. So the major part I want to hone in on was, like I said, so they have agreed. Because in this nation, it seems like we have a hard time agreeing to things. You know what I'm saying? Why do we have a hard time coming to an agreement in the year 2025? Because gods don't know how to agree. And there's nothing that brothers will ever agree on. Like, listen, acknowledge this. For us to come to an agreement, and they say we all gotta agree, bro, we're never all gonna agree on one thing. That's literally like never gonna happen. Never. It's just too many of us, and that's the reason why. It's too many of us to come to an agreement on one thing. So, like I keep saying, the competent ones among us, the ones who are actually gonna do something, those are the ones who gotta come together and put something together for the rest of us that's just sitting around twiddling our thumbs. See what I'm saying? That's basically what I gotta get done. And that's basically what has been getting. Listen, guys, I remember, like I told you, I've been sitting in those seats for a long time before I got up there to build myself. And I remember sitting in that audience and hearing the older God build, and he'd be up there and he'd talk about, yo, I got this program with these babies, and I got the buses, You know, we got the babies. You know, we need help, God. We need help. And he was calling on the nation for help. And all of these adults in the audience sitting there talking about the babies are the greatest and we all about the babies. Ain't nobody helped this man with the babies. He had all the buses, he had the equipment, he had the events and all of that, everything set up. He just needed people to supervise the babies because he couldn't do it all by himself. See how everybody's talking about, yeah, God, that sounds good. That's a good idea. Go do that, God, go do that. Then when brothers get something together and they need help, they need assistance, because if you got a bunch of babies, how you gonna monitor all these babies by yourself? And they're not even your kids. You know what I'm saying? So you need other responsible adults to assist. Like, duh. But I remember sitting right there now, and listen, I was a young guy at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was at least in my wisdom ciphers or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I really wasn't the said person of that ability per se at the time. Like now, if something went down like that, yeah, I'll be there. You know what I mean? But I seen all them brothers sit there and just let this brother cry out to the nation for help, and ain't nobody helping. This is over like 15, 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing is going on today. I'm up there before the nation. Got plans. Need assistance. Calling on the nation. Everybody just sitting there looking dumb in the face. Like, what? What he wanted to do? He wanted to have meetings and build on this and then learn something new other than 120? Fuck out of here, goofy ass niggas. So go back and watch all the videos I just broke down. Statehood in the 1 to 10, statehood in the 1 to 36, statehood in the 1 to 14, and I'm about to go into the 1 to 40. I'm gonna do some study on that before I go to that, because you know them degrees kind of long, so I'm gonna do some study before I build on that. And majorly, I'm gonna build with the understanding God degree, the understanding Bill degree, and the understanding Born degree. Well, I mean the understanding Bill, understanding Born, and the Kosher Cipher degree, and the 1 to 40. Those are the major degrees I want to deal with. And listen, I'm Kosher understanding. So if you over Kosher Cipher, those are major degrees you should be focusing on in your life as an older God. You know what I'm saying? Of a God of that degree. Yeah, you should be focusing on that. Do you hope to live to see the day when the gods will take the devil into hell in the very near future? What will be your reward in the hopes of God, the destruction of the devil? If you ain't focusing on that, what are you doing? Like really, at this degree in your life, what are you really doing? Still talking about Yaqub grafted the devil, and Musa came 2,000 years later, taught them how to live a respectful life, how to build a home for themselves. Also, some of the God trick knowledge Yaqub had taught them to tell a lie, still how to master vision of man. Still running around quoting that. So the sciences, so they have agreed, right? So there is what's called consensus voting, right? Which is a form of deliberation where no party disagrees. More so, they have a meeting and people basically give their interpretation of what they're bringing forth, like whatever their plan is, they build on it, and then they let the people make a decision on what makes the most sense, not what sounds the best. Because it seems like right now our form of governance is parliamentary, where basically people can just get up before the parliament, freestyle, and you know, if it sounds good, then I guess people go with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we call that governance. So anyway, the science is, when we talk about agreeing, right? For those who actually do want to come to a table, sit down, read some information, and then come to some kind of agreement, then that's what needs to be done. Because not everybody at one time is, even at a parliament, somebody can present something before parliament, do everybody in the parliament be like, yeah, we all with that, everybody's with that, we all agree. Like, no, it don't happen like that. So what we need to start introducing into our form of governance is a form of democracy. And not democracy how the devil's been doing it in their form of politics, just the simple basics of democracy, which is a voting process where if you're going to have elected officials to fill certain positions, then they are elected by the citizens / nationals of the nation. And there's an electoral process or voting process where we get that done. There's going to be a date. Everybody come, make sure you vote. Matter of fact, at the show and prove or something, we're going to have voting polls, or we're going to have little ballot boxes or whatever. Everybody put their vote in for whatever, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? And this is how we can actually come to an agreement. Because, like I said, it's so many of us to come to agreement at one time on one thing, then we need a form of saying, okay, you voted for this, they voted for that, this many votes came in for that, this many votes came in for that, okay, this person won the votes. Like, come on, y'all don't see it on TV? Fucking like, it's basic, man, it's simple. But you know what I mean? We don't understand that. What do you mean democracy? We're not Democrats. See, our people is actually Republican. You know? Bro, that's not the fucking point, man. That's not the point. That's what people gonna say, goofy shit like that. See, we was actually Republican before we started voting Democrat. I know the whole history of that, man. I'm talking about as far as us getting things actually done and coming to some type of agreement, then we need to have some type of democratic process or voting process where we actually vote for what we want and let the vote speak for itself. Not just a few people saying this is what it is and everybody else has got to agree. That's not they have agreed. That's not so they have agreed. That's a couple of people agreed and made everybody else acquiesce. That's what that is. That's not so they have agreed. See what I'm saying? So we got to really start learning how to actually deal in actual governance to get things done as a nation. You know what I'm saying? Not a boys and girls club. That's what a lot of people treat this nation as, a boys and girls club. Yeah, so, you know, like I said, a lot of people treat this nation as a boys and girls club. And this is why we're not really elevating or, you know what I'm saying, doing things as nations do. So like I said, when I come before the parliament, I'm talking about statehood and international law and declaring our own jurisdiction and, you know, defining our territory, our permanent population. Right. So when I come forth and I start talking about these things like declaring our own jurisdiction, you know what I'm saying, putting together our permanent population, our government, showing our capacity to enter into relations with other states and start breaking down all these international laws and how we're protected and all of that. People don't understand that. People acting like we don't need that. As if like we just got everything we need and everything is all good. And it's not. So therefore, when we say so they have agreed, we have to actually come to a form of agreement and know how to actually agree. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, a form of voting or consensus voting, this is how we'll actually get things done, other than just, you know, Bogart in the parliament and saying, yeah, this is what it is, and that's what it is, and everybody, that's what it is. Like, come on. It's not government. It's not government. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, y'all, I ain't gonna hold y'all too long, man. I just want to break down that, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'll build with y'all later, man. Peace.